what is the purpose, and maybe introduce us a little bit.
Okay, I think it's recording now. Yeah, so I'm Sonia, and then yeah, so basically, I guess like I explained this like a bunch of times, but I'll explain it again. I'm doing a story on mental health with university students, and this has kind of been an ongoing story for a while. I did speak to university students, and a lot of concerns that they had was that universities could be doing a better job, and they could be reaching out more to students, and being there for students, I guess. And when I spoke to Dr. Ava, she had her own opinions as well. And then we just thought, why don't we like mix the two together and like, you guys could talk to her a little bit and we could see, I guess, where it goes from there. So, Dr. Ava, if you want to add anything, you can go ahead.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. And again, thank you everyone for joining. I introduced myself, but let me do that again. So my name is Dr. Eva Antczak. I'm a psychologist, educational psychologist. And some of you asked me uh, if I'm affiliated with any particular university. So the answer was no. I am affiliated with the Educational Board of Education in Toronto. I also have my own practice. And I also developed an app with the help of many people, obviously. It's been a long, long process. It's called Talk to Alex. And maybe later on, I will introduce it to you as well. So this is basically an app that helps or supposed to help with mental health. So basically for people to feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more happier. I don't know if any of you heard about it already. Sanya, I think
I,
you tried it, right?
yeah.
Okay. So we can talk about it later. So again, thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah. And I probably should have added, I'm a first year journalism student at Ryerson. So, yeah. So if you guys want to, we can just talk about, I guess, like we could start by talking about maybe some, like the way the semester went and what could have been done better, I guess, overall. Like, yeah.
Oh, I'll go first. This semester went like not that good. Like I dropped out of like all but one of my classes, and in that one class that I'm still in, I haven't completed like many assignments, and I'm still like in the process of like talking to teachers to like, okay, which assignments are left over, I'm going to do them during the break and stuff, right? And it's been very hectic and stuff, and I think um there's like this context that like I feel like people would that's like being left out, that like I think the first years we have effectively no experience with online school, and that's including like last year, because what happened last year was that we didn't have to hand in anything in because our grade wouldn't lower, and then we just had like months of not needing to do work, and then we just get jumped into this semester where like there's all these this huge leap in like how much work is expected of you, and then trying to navigate through that and figuring out which is stress from quarantine, which is regular stress from normal life, which is stress from university, and it's just like 7 different turning points that's just happening at once, and just trying to navigate through that. It's just been ah hell.
Um, to add on to that, I kind of think that like I I'm sure I think that like every university has implemented this like asynchronous learning and then synchronous learning. I'm not sure, right? Yeah. So I go to like I'm in the Schulich BBA program, and so over there they're always like telling they have this like standard, and they're always telling you you have to meet the standard or else like it won't work out for you in this program. And then that's just really hard because after I think it was like 6 months of really not giving it your all in school, like Zayan was saying, you kind of just like laid back because in grade 12 at the end, because of the coronavirus, your mark couldn't go lower. So I think people kind of just started like laying back and stuff. And so then when this asynchronous learning factor is like here now you're teaching yourself and you're kind of expected to learn the material yourself, so it's hard to kind of integrate your way back into that hardworking self that you used to be. um, and it's just hard to like be motivated at this point.
I agree with what Aliza's saying. And even like for me, I feel like I'm the type of person who learns more in an environment where I know I have to like be there. Like I feel like with pre-recorded lectures and stuff, I will just skip through the whole thing and I won't retain any information, but then I'll be like, "Oh, I finished the lecture. I did the lecture." So it doesn't matter. And like I feel like the only thing that actually kind of benefited me this semester was going to tutorials, but not all my classes had tutorials. And a lot of the times the tutorials were just discussions based off of the pre-recorded lectures, which I could barely finish because I just don't have that attention span to watch pre-recorded lectures. I just can't do it. It's really hard for me to focus on them. I don't learn anything. I will take notes, but like I just won't learn anything. So I feel like that's something else that really made it hard for me this semester, because then I wasn't able to finish my assignments properly. And I honestly didn't learn anything, even though I was really excited for my program, for my courses, and it didn't turn out how I expected at all.
And Raja, what do you study?
I'm studying political science.
Political science, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually feel bad for the first years who start. Oh, sorry. Does someone
Oh,
else
no,
want to
keep
talk?
going. It's okay. No,
Okay,
it's okay.
no, I
Go ahead. I'll
actually feel
go.
bad. Yeah. I feel bad for the first years who started this year because it's really hard to transition, because even for me, like I did first year in person, and even that was such like hard to navigate, especially like trying to figure out with classes and everything. So now with it being online, like the transition from high school classes to university classes, it's crazy. Like you're marked 30% on an assignment, that's basically going to make up your grade. If you fail something, you're basically going to fail the course. It's really scary to put that into perspective. And yeah, I just feel really bad for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Something that I like found really like, I think Rija kind of mentioned it, but like as somebody who really enjoys like interactive learning in person, like, you know, getting to talk to people, discussing like the material, and as someone who comes from like a really, really big program such as like life science, we have like almost all of my classes were pretty much pre-recorded. Like you just have to watch videos on your own time. And even like the live lectures were pretty much just like you would type in a question and the prof would like kind of answer it, but there wasn't still much like interaction with other students. And so that was probably what I found the most difficult, because like I like going to, you know, school, or, you know, I like going to a physical place and knowing I'm going to interact with people, and like, you know, like each day won't be the exact same, and there's different way to learn, you know, group work and stuff, but everything was kind of like the same. It was like I was living the same day like every day, and I just woke up, watched like a couple of videos, did some problems, and then the day was over. So that was quite hard, like not kind of having that interaction with people.
Yeah. Did you have any synchronized classes?
I only had like one tutorial, and even that was like every other week, so that was it.
Yeah, because
Nothing
I had
else.
one synchronized class for peace studies, and it was actually like the prof, you could see that he cared about us, the way that he would like dedicate not just tutorial time, office hours time, but also like physical class time to helping us out. And I feel like that should have been a standard for all classes, because I did really good in that one class and everyone participated, because everyone was lacking actual communication with others.
That's nice. Even in like the one tutorial that I did had, nobody even had their like cameras on. We did like have one group project, so like I made like a couple of friends out of that. But honestly, like that was like the only interaction I had with like humans like the whole semester.
Yeah,
So
it's like we have to create our own coping mechanisms now.
yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like really disconnected from like the like online stuff, like especially like connecting with other people. Like I just don't like see myself um like having an actual bond with people through like screen stuff, especially meeting people. And I don't like, for me, like meeting somebody in person, like that's like a big part of my impression of them. And um especially like strangers and stuff. And I don't have any motivation to like interact with other people in like any kind of way. And I usually just keep my camera off and stuff like that. And it's because I just don't like, I don't want to like, I don't know, like it's just like idly sit and just like try to interact in like some way that I don't interact with before. I don't like interacting with people like this. And it's just like, yeah.
I think the biggest thing was like the loss of motivation midway through the semester. Like I started off the semester, I think pretty strong. You know, I'd wake up every day early, and then like I think after midterm or like after reading, like it just went downhill in terms of motivation. Like I just stopped caring. Like it, you know, I stopped doing assignments earlier. You know, it was tough.
Yeah, same. I think I also was like excited in the beginning, and I realized that I was just gonna be like watching like videos all day, and I was like, never mind. And then after midterm, same. Like I was like, no way.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
Sorry, you can go.
Oh yeah, I also feel like I lost so much motivation, not even after midterm, like a week or two into the semester, I couldn't anymore. It got so repetitive and I was so tired and bored of my classes. And talking about what Diane was saying, literally I cannot talk to people on like it's when it's over camera and you're just like sitting there, and I feel like I lost so much interaction marks because of that in all my classes because I didn't raise my hand in Zoom classes. And also I get really intimidated when there's just people sitting there and I don't know who they are. None of them have their cameras on, and then the prof is just sitting there like, oh, somebody raised their hand, and then I don't know what to say. Like I have an answer, but then I'm just too nervous to raise my hand. Like honestly, in school and stuff, I would usually raise my hand when I have an answer to a question, but in with Zoom and stuff, not being able to see the people, not knowing anybody and everything, it made it really intimidating. I didn't raise my hand in tutorials or anything, and I lost a lot of participation marks because of that as well.
I just kind of want to go back to something that Rich said about how everything started seeming really repetitive. I think that like with this, like what our days started seeming like the same. It didn't really seem like we were living a life. It kind of, well, for me, it kind of just seemed like I would wake up, go to class, do my work, and then like go back to sleep. I felt like that's how like my weeks were going. And so then it just kind of, I think that's something that like really factored into my loss of motivation, just because like when everything's the same, feel like you don't feel really into it anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was exactly me too. And you know, I felt like when we were in school, like even though technically we were just going to like the same classes every day, we were seeing new people. You know, we were talking with our friends. Obviously, the day wasn't going to be the same as before, right? But this time, it's literally the same. Like I'm like same thing every single day. You're just changing what you're learning in the video. Like that was it. So that's why there was exactly no like motivation.
Especially when there's such like
And
disconnect.
not even to mention the fact that when we have to.
Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. You can finish. It's great.
Especially when there's so much like disconnect with everyone else. Like I think one big thing about first year would be that you're meeting new people, right? So you're making new friends, you're meeting new people, you're like kind of like making your way into university and then integrating yourself into it. And then now like since that factor is gone, you kind of feel robotic. And so yeah.
And they did nothing to even fix that. Like even when it comes to tests and stuff, like I know some people had like protocol exams. I don't know if any of you guys had them, but I have friends who've had them and they had to like literally move their like laptop screen all around the room to make sure like no one's in there. And it's just like, and even like for me, like I've had to write exams where there's only 5 questions per page and then you have to submit it and you can't look back. Whereas in person, you can choose which questions to do first. So it's not like they're making things any easier for us. Instead, they're trying to be harder because they think we're all cheating, when in reality, we're just trying to get by.
What do you mean? Sorry, I didn't get that part. Who is thinking that you're cheating?
Oh, the professors, like they're always posting about academic dishonesty like nonstop. And so they make questions even harder on purpose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I'm so sorry. You were
Go ahead.
I was just gonna give an example. Like, for example, I'm in this biology class and we just had like an exam with 80 questions in 2 hours. And if you look at like our past exams, it's literally been 30 questions in 2 hours. And for some reason they made it 80 this year, which made no sense. Like everyone, like literally like on like the Teams page, everyone was like commenting, they were like, this really isn't fair. And plus this is known to be a class where like the questions aren't really like that easy. So we need like more time to kind of read them. And there were still 80 of them. So everyone like really like told the professors like, what are you doing? Like, can you at least lower the questions or increase the time or do something? And they did nothing. They did nothing. The only thing they changed was they were still proctoring the exam, but they just took out the camera part. So I guess that was something. We're not being watched anymore, but that was it. Everything else was the exact same. 2 hours, 80 multiple choice, and everyone after the exam was like, "This was the worst exam ever." So yeah, it was that's. And even the thing she said about not being able to go back, I had another like midterm. No, this was an exam, and it was 100 multiple choice, and I couldn't go back. You have to do 5, and you have to move on, and you can never go back and see what you did.
Yeah, and it's scary because then it's like, are you going to pass it? Are you not? And like you have to manage your time accordingly too.
Yeah.
For my class, for all of my classes, like all of our exams and tests and stuff were open book. And I remember for like one exam that I had, it was split into 2 parts. So it was like an assignment portion and a quiz portion. So the assignment portion was like a two-day assignment. It took 2 days to finish that. And then when you start the quiz, it's like exactly the same thing. It's the assignment, and you only have 1 hour to do it, which I think was like really unrealistic since it was the same thing as the 2-day assignment. So they kind of make it so that you're at a disadvantage, I feel like, just because they think that you have an advantage of being at home, which I don't think that being at home is an advantage at all.
I'm like seeing horror story after horror story. Like I think generally I was well accommodated. I'm not sure like I like one of my courses, like the teacher said how he's like this one course that I'm actually passing, like the teacher made many accommodations and like lowering the course load, and he made classes like asynchronous, like they used to be synchronous and he turned them asynchronous. And a lot of accommodations were made in terms of like how he structured the course and like lowering the stuff we had to do. And that's like one of the classes I'm passing and stuff. And for other classes, I didn't have like that many, like they were all like relatively manageable. Yeah. And one thing I can say about McMaster when it comes to the thing, like they had their archway program, which like God bless, because I didn't like when I first like I didn't know anything about it, and when I got like the emails about it, I was just ignoring them. And then after like midterm, and I was just really depressed, having done work for like 2 months, literally one class, I just did not go into the course page for 2 months, and then I reached out and I was like, these are all my problems, and they like even after ignoring them like the entire semester, they still like came on, reached out, and like I talked about them, and then I'm still in contact with the people in that program, and I update them, and they're still helping me like do all these things. And like if that archery program didn't exist, I'd probably have dropped out either a while ago or just failed everything by now. And I can't imagine how like hard it would be if like how many, because and like another thing is like we don't know what's happening with other people. Like we can get like a ballpark, like we're like, yeah, everybody's miserable and hates their life, but like we don't see that. And if we were in school, we could like talk to our friends about this, but really we just don't know. And like you really do think like you're the only one that's going through this, or like you just feel so alone with like your struggle and stuff, and you think like, oh my god, I'm probably the only one who's struggling like this, when there's probably like dozens of other people, and you just don't know it.
Sorry for cutting you off. And first of all, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your stories. I would like to summarize something and ask you some questions, okay? So we can maybe start thinking about some solutions if possible, or at least, again, see the thought or two and see which way we can take it. So from what I hear at the moment, is this. First of all, you're finding very difficult to deal with the online education, especially in the first year. Is that correct? Okay. And from what I heard from you, it was what I repeated a few times was that, first of all, some of you don't feel that have, you know, enough attention to be able to follow these lectures that are pre-recorded. That also you find transition to be very difficult from something you knew that was there before to something that is completely new, and you feel robotic and you feel disconnected. So the communication is a big factor, that you don't have this in-person communication with other people. You don't really know what's going on. You feel very lonely, from, if I understand it correctly. And I think you also mentioned that this is the first year, so you had some expectations, and suddenly all these expectations and all your dreams were taken away from you, and you're suddenly in a totally different world where you have no interactions with other people. You don't know anybody. You basically feel embarrassed and unmotivated, and you don't really know what to do about it. Is that correct, more or less? Or I forgot about something, or you would like to clarify? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Right. And so, did I hear you correctly that you reached out to someone and asked for accommodations?
Yeah, so McMaster has this thing called the Archway program, and it was implemented this year to accommodate for people first years during because for online school. And I'm not sure like the exact specifics of it because I wasn't updated. I didn't keep up with it because I didn't like care for it until I actually reached out to mine. So you have like an Archway mentor, and then you have a coach, and they're like um, helping you out and stuff. And then they interact through email and Google Teams, and they reached out like multiple times, like emailing me and stuff, and I just didn't respond to it because I was like, I don't know, like I've never responded to emails before, especially in like a school thing. And so they exist to like help students understand like all the faculty and services that McMaster has. And my like one of my mentor is she's a fourth year student, and like I can just talk to her about my like what I'm going through and all these things, and she just provides me that support from like a student and like a kind of mentor role. And then she like connects me to like other faculty who connect me to like the services in the school, like the academic advisors and like the student wellness center and such. And then, you know, like it just gives you like a way. It's like a community, like one place where you can get like know all the resources and like a place for communication and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's actually.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna explain the Archway. So it's actually like a whole like group of students. So like they put you in a team. Like I think I'm in team like I forgot what team I'm in, but anyways, it's like a bunch of students. I think like 30 of them, and then there's one mentor who like guides all of you guys. And then so usually like even my mentor is really nice. He's like also in my program, so like he helped me a lot with like my second year specialization, like what I want to go into next year. And like so yeah, it's really nice what Dan was saying. Like it's really nice that they did that. I know not every single like university made a special program like that for first year. So I guess that's one way McMaster did kind of try to integrate us. But I'm not gonna lie, like even in the Archway, like I guess the aspect I was excited about was like the meeting new people. But again, like people weren't really engaged. Like the first meeting we had, like it was quite good. Like we met a lot of people, but then like obviously like once school started, everyone kind of just like forgot about it. And so I guess the point of it kind of didn't stick, like what they were trying to do with it didn't necessarily work because they wanted people to kind of have a community of friends, but that didn't really work because everyone was just too busy trying to get school done that they didn't really have time to utilize. But the mentor was really nice. Like they definitely helped out. So I'd say that was a successful aspect.
So how did it work last year? And here I'm going to ask the students who are at the second year of the university, or so when you go to university, how does it usually work? Like, do you have time to communicate with others? Do you have time for these meetings? Or the first year is that you're so busy you have absolutely no time for anything? Can anybody help me with that?
I think I can. I'm kind of at an advantage only because my program is less than like 50 people, so I know every name in my program. And I know that's not the case for everyone because I'm in an elective with about like 200 students, and I know almost nobody in that class. But last year, definitely, I think I had time to get to know a lot of people in my program. This year, we only have we have group chats where we sometimes talk, but it's not the same because last year we were like face to face and we got to go out to eat, or we would go to club events together. And that kind of was taken away from us because club events are only online. And I think people want to get away from that whole online concept now. They don't want to have a Zoom meeting after school too. So they kind of want to, obviously, what can we do now? I mean, you can't do an in-person event, but yeah, last year was definitely a lot better and easier to get to know people. And this year I have probably met nobody new, which I might have if I was at school. But yeah, last year was definitely better.
Okay, thank you. So why do you think it's happening? Why do you think you have less time? There is this more workload, or this is again the fact that professors are being a little bit more I don't know, picky, and they don't trust you that you are doing your work? Is this a lack of motivation? Is this lack of the work habits? What do you think?
I think for me personally, like I'm in second year social psychology, but the biggest thing I noticed was last year we had Welcome Week, and Welcome Week was basically where you got introduced to new people. And I don't know how it was online this year, but that's basically where you meet upper year students. That's the whole purpose of it. And so with things moving virtually, I just think since we're already so used to technology, like our entire generation, since middle school, we've been using like phones, but we never thought that we'd become completely reliant on them. Like it's a new form of communication, but at the same time, we value face-to-face. And I feel like because everything's moved online now, it just put into perspective how much we actually need that physical communication and being able to see someone. And when you send like a Zoom link or something for Welcome Week, you're not sure if people are going to join because that's like where you have to self-regulate yourself, and not everyone has it in them to self-motivate. Some people want someone to guide them. Like for me personally, I feel like since like I'm the eldest and I was the first in my family to go to university, like here in Canada, I feel like I had to self-motivate myself a lot. But for my friends, like I see them, I kind of have to reach out to them and ask them like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? How are your classes going? And not everyone has it in them, and not everyone has a friend like that. So I feel like it just depends more on your personality and if you're willing to seek out those resources or if you want them to come to you.
Thank you. I think it is a very, very valid point. Again, from what I hear from you and what you just said, it is a matter of personality. First of all, for each and every human being, social interaction is very important. Aristotle said that human beings are basically social animals, right? So we need these interactions. And there's no question about it. COVID affected every single person on the planet, at least those who have access to social media or any information. Now, it affected a lot of students, not only at your level, at the university level, but also elementary school students, high school students, and so on and so forth. As we know, nothing lasts forever. This is a situation, possibly, hopefully, temporary situation. And as you're saying also, this is a transition. You expected something different, and obviously, for obvious reasons. And this is what it is. It came to us unexpectedly. Nobody was sitting there and thinking, oh, maybe this year will be a little bit different. I will get used to it, or I will get ready. It came from nowhere. And as you're saying, some people, when they face adversity or any kind of difficult situation in life, they would say, oh my goodness, this is a different situation. Let's think what I can do about it. And they reach out for resources, they reach out to other people, they think, and they try to problem solve, and they do something about it. They keep themselves busy. There are, however, some people who have totally different reaction when the adversity comes. They say, oh my goodness, what do I do now? And they basically do nothing. And now let me explain to you. Maybe you know that. If you know that, stop you, all right? But I just wanted to explain to you a little bit why it is happening and how the human brain, how it works. Maybe it will be helpful. So basically, from prehistoric times, human beings are equipped in this limbic system. So this is the system responsible for emotions. In the moment we are facing any kind of dangerous situation in life, we either, and I'm sure you heard about it, right? There is this response system called freeze, fight, or flight. Have you heard about it? So basically, if our life is in danger, or anybody reacts that way. Let's say in prehistoric times, you see a saber-toothed tiger running at you, you freeze, you hope the tiger will not see you, so you will not die. When you can't, you try to run away. When again the beast is chasing you, you try to fight back. So in this situation, if we need to relate it to COVID or whatever is happening to you at the moment, the reaction we described, you described, I just summarized it, is some people freeze. They say, oh my goodness, what now? let's stay still, do nothing, and let's see if the help will come. Some people will go and fight, and other people will simply go and try to do something about it. For those of you who are trying to reach out for help, possibly you find it a little bit more bearable. I don't know if I'm right or not. But I liked also your idea about having somebody who can motivate you, who can come and support you. So in other words, I don't know what you think about this idea to maybe creating some kind of groups. And you're saying this is happening already, that there are some people who reach out for help, or some other people who reach out to other people and asking, hey, how are you doing today? Do you need any help? Is anything happening? If you hope that the university will do that for you, I promise you are going to be very disappointed. You are going to be very disappointed for many different reasons. And again, those students who are at the second year and so on, you can possibly tell me more about it. But basically, you are grown-up people, you're adults, and universities treat you as such. What it means that they hope that if you have a problem, you will reach out for help. You will say, hey, just like you say, and I have a problem with this and that, and they try to provide you with some accommodations. I also hear that some universities are providing this group support. But again, if you lack motivation because of something, and again, I completely understand. I will be honest with you, at the beginning of the COVID, it hit me really badly. And I was thinking to myself, my goodness, I am a psychologist. I was supposed to help other people. What's going on? So it happens to everyone. It's not that it happened to you because you don't know what to do with life and so on. It happens to every single person. Now, the question is what we can do about it, because if we sit there and wait for somebody to come and rescue us, it most likely is not going to happen. So do you have any ideas, or do you have any questions or comments on about that? What can be done about it? What do you think can help you, or what skills do you think you need to be able to deal with this situation at the moment? Again, it's temporary. It will be gone, I promise. Sooner or later, I don't know when. Not at the moment, but
like we didn't have any time to like really I think like a couple of people said about like midterm is when they start falling off, and I think those people can agree, because like not midterm, reading week is because they probably, I'm guessing, didn't like have any rest during reading week, and you just kind of like the week, like it passed and everything passed, and you just like go back to school like, wait a minute, I'm still just as stressed and everything. And I think like we didn't get any time to process what we were going through and actually take time to like think about where we're at right now and what we're supposed to do, and we just kind of went with it, you know. And I think it's only like after like talking to like a lot of advisors and stuff, I'm like, okay, yeah, what I want to do now is I don't want to take a full course load. I want to take like 3 courses or something next semester and maybe do something else. And we just didn't have any time to, I think like we were just rushed along, and whether that's by like our parents or like the school or like just how the stuff is structured, it just felt like you just had to keep going along with it and then just deal with it. And it
So how do you
didn't
deal
feel
with
like
it, Diane? How do you deal with it? What do you do? Because again, you everything, listen to everything you are saying basically goes down to mental health and how you cope with the adversities in your life, right? And and again, these things are happening. It happened that, you know, this time a lot of people are affected at the same time. But look at your lives. Like how many times in your life you had to deal with something difficult? Either you didn't pass an exam, or you were worried that you may not be accepted to the university, to the program you chose, or somebody was sick, or maybe somebody died, or you worried about something else. Like, did it happen to any of you before? Just seriously, anybody? Yeah, okay. So I would say most of us, if not all of us. Now, life is unfair. I want you to know that there is nothing, if we expect that life is fair and everything will be just fine, it's not going to happen. Life is unfair. And the problem is not the problem. We need to find some solutions, what to do to deal with these adversities in our life. Yes.
so like what I've like how I've been able to cope is I've been like able to acknowledge what I've been able to accomplish, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I haven't done this and that, but I did hand this in. I did do good in that. And then
Excellent.
when I'm at this, but like it also comes at this thing where like I have dropped out of 4 out of 5 of the things that I applied to. I've like done really badly on all the assignments I've handed in. For weeks on end, I just didn't go to work, do any work, or just sat in front of a Google Doc for hours doing nothing. And then as much as I can like be like, okay, yes, this is what I'm doing, I'm proud of the work I'm doing and stuff, that doesn't like that doesn't make me pass school, you know. That doesn't like change my, that doesn't like get my assignments done, right? Like that self-love, it doesn't, or acknowledgement, it doesn't get right words on a Google Doc and stuff. And then it's like, I think as much as we can cope with our mental health and acknowledge that that takes so much time and energy, and it feels like only now after school is over have I like, I'm happy now. And a week ago I was so miserable, and like on multiple times per day I just contemplate suicide at points. And because I just like I didn't know what to do and I didn't know what was going on. But now, because I've just had this time to think and stuff, it's like it just like, but then I can only do this because there is no extra work. And I said to myself, once school is over, I can finally, because I realized like there is no point thinking about these things because they won't get my work done. And once I'm done my work, then I can think about and process these things. And we just don't have the time to do that. And that is the issue. We just don't have the time to do both mental health and work.
Can I ask something before? Yeah, so I just wanted to ask really quick. So, what do you guys think universities could be doing better to help you? Mary, you can go ahead.
I think the biggest thing that we have to realize is that we're not, our professors in university, quite honestly, they don't care about us. They're working a job, and it's up to us personally as students. And we're at an age where I feel like arguably COVID's probably hit first years who are transitioning into university the most, because this is the point in adulthood where like you've gone from like being babied your whole life by teachers and having everything handed to you to a point in your life where you're just like, okay, now you have to do everything for yourself. And with that being online with no one else to guide you, it's just like it's put you in such like a state of confusion because you're not sure where to go from here. So I feel like as opposed to relying on professors or relying on the university, it's more important to actually rely on who you're socializing with and who your friend group is. Because at the end of the day, like as you grow up, like even for me personally, like I've been like trying to reevaluate the people who I hang out with, the people who I'm associated with, because if they're focused on academics, if they're in your program, that's they're going to motivate you as well as themselves because it's like a give or take. Like you're gaining your own grades and they're also going to be doing well. So I feel like that's what's more important because as we move on in life, these professors won't go with us, this university won't go with us, our degree will, and to get that degree it's based on who we associate with and who helps motivate us. I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I think that it's also really, really important to have like an outlet for all of your emotions, just because like a lot, like I think how Zayan was saying, like this semester has been going by really, really fast. And so you don't really have enough time just to process everything, right? And so when exam season is over, then you're just like, okay, well, I have all these emotions built up inside of me that I haven't been able to let out just because I didn't have time for it. So uh so I think that's just really important just to make sure that like you have a release, I guess.
I agree with what Elise was saying. Also, like personally, I feel like a lot of professors they just are giving you the work. Like even for me, when I have a question about an assignment and I email a professor, sometimes I don't get replies for like days on end. And the assignment is due, let's say like 3 days, and I email a professor 3 days before asking for help. Or like a TA, because those are the ones that mark our assignments. So I'll email a TA, and like they will not reply back until the day before, and then they'll be like, I can't do anything anymore, you emailed so late. But then I'm like, I literally emailed you 3 days ago. It's not my fault you replied like 3 days later, the day the assignment's due, and then I'm not able to do well on it. But like I did everything I could. But also, on the same note, like one of my professors, he like took away the exam. Well, he made it optional. So he did like one essay, one exam, and it's your choice which one you want to do, if you want to do both. And based on that, like whichever one you do better in will be your grade. So I feel like some professors are trying, but then at the same time, the TAs, which are the ones that actually mark our stuff, really don't care, and they are honestly the reason why I got a bad grade in a lot of my courses.
I think that like I I think that like coming here, especially since like it's all like online, we don't really have a great form of communication. And there's not really the chance to like go be like talk one on one with your professors. So it's kind of hard to like know what the expectations are just for like your assignments and everything. And I know that like ever since high school we've been told that in university like things are going to be 100 times harder. They're going to have so much like a lot more expectations about how you're writing your assignments, how you're formatting everything. And I know that for me like it was a really hard adjustment just because like my TA would always give feedback, and then when I would implement that feedback they'd always be like, why did you do this, you know? So it's kind of hard to just like figure out what the expectations are, and that really puts a lot of stress on us. I don't know if that's like anyone else's experience, but that's like what it's been like for me.
These are
Yeah, it's been, oh,
comments.
sorry about that.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, thanks so much. I definitely agree with that. It's really hard to figure out what your professors want from you, especially in an online platform. Personally, it's been hard, kind of just figuring out like, uh, even like for the deadlines of some projects when they say, oh, it's due on December 16th. So there was like a problem where our course website stopped showing us the time, so no one knew when it was actually due. And anyways, so after that got resolved, even just talking to our TAs and talking to our professors is definitely a lot harder. But some things that like do make it easier to help are maybe going to office hours. um, it kind of sucks going in online office hours because they usually it's so like impersonal that it's hard to build any sort of connection, which is really important with if you want to do well in a course, to kind of like know your professor a little bit and kind of get like as much information about the course as you can, which is obviously a lot harder to do in an online world. And I think that's a big reason as to why I probably didn't do as well as I'd like to in this semester. But yeah, that's just what I have to say.
I think that like online, you still, I feel like in real life, you'd feel like, okay, comfortable with these people, right? But then online, it just, even after a whole semester, it just still feels like you're strangers. And so that's hard.
I
But you know,
think my best advice. Oh, sorry.
please go ahead. Please go ahead. I
Oh,
did.
I was just saying that my own advice. Okay. My own advice, like having done first year in person, and now that it's online, I just like since like the first day of the semester, and I took 4 courses in the summer too, like just to get ahead. So what I did was I made a calendar, like I had it like on my phone, and I had reminders with it. And so and if it helps you go into office hours, then add those to your calendar too. And so when it'll remind you, it'll make you feel like, oh, this is mandatory too, like I have to go here. And so it kind of just like tricks your mind into thinking like, okay, now I have to do this. And for me personally, since I work under pressure, like I'm always taking courses. Like last semester I had enrolled in 6 courses, but then I had an emergency trip back home, so I had to drop like one of them. But even next semester, like I'm taking extra courses because I work best under pressure. And so for me, like I'm actually trying to take advantage of things being moved online. And in that sense, like what I'm doing is I'm just like, it's easier for me to get better grades if I actually advocate for myself. So I'm taking advantage of that. And I'm just trying to be more vocal and just focus on academics solely, because otherwise we get distracted. Like if you also think about it, there's disadvantages to things being in person too, because you're more easily distracted. So I feel like you kind of have to just what works out best for you.
Mhm. I don't know if you see, I was typing some strategies as you were talking, because I just wanted to say I'm really impressed with all your ideas and how you answer the question what university can do for you. I agree with you. Like the only person that can change is yourself. I promise you will not change your professors, universities, and the system. And I'm really impressed that you see the need for taking this responsibility and doing something about it. And as I summarized in the chat box, you can download it, or if you share your email addresses with me, I will send you some other strategies, or I can send it to Sanya and she will share it with you. Basically, uh, planning and organizing, having a schedule, a visual schedule with reminders, it's available anywhere now, right? On any devices, can help. People like to have routines, like to, develop habits. This is something that gives us a sense of safety. At least I know what I'm going to do at 10 o'clock on Monday, right? It's not that I have to try to guess, or I do something and suddenly I see, oh my goodness, but I forgot to prepare this assignment. So if you plan and organize, at least you have some control over your life. Then I believe very important thing that you mentioned on several occasions was to ask for help. Either ask a friend for help, ask the, I don't know, accessibility services for help, ask your professor for help. Sir, or whatever, professor, I know there is a deadline, but this website doesn't work, or the system doesn't work. What can you do about it? If you don't tell them, they will not know, or they will simply think that you ignore the assignment. So talk to them. I think Zion was saying, focus on a positive thing. So you are saying that you are counting your blessing. I've done this, I accomplished that, I was able to do that. This is something that builds your resiliency. Again, life is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, But the more you deal with difficult situations, the more you are able to overcome them, the stronger you feel inside, right? You say, well, I was able to accomplish it before. It means I am able to accomplish it now, or I may be able. Slow down. When you're saying, I don't have time to process what happened to me, I agree with you. This is like an ongoing trauma for many. Then slow down, meditate, listen to some, maybe on YouTube, you have tons of it, some kind of meditation recordings or guided meditation when they're saying, like calm down, start breathing, do this, do that. This is something that should help you. Now, I mentioned to you before this app, Talk to Alex. The reason at the moment this is a free demo version, and it is loaded with tools, with strategies. It is loaded with resources section where you can basically learn how your body works when you are stressed out, how you can calm your body down, and so on and so forth. There is also, I'll show you briefly how it looks like. The interface maybe looks a little bit for younger people, but I don't know, Sanya, what you think, but I think that the vocabulary is also suitable for your age people. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I feel like it's really good for like situations that you need to like calm yourself down. I think that it really helps, especially like the fact that it is very like it's a very simply made for all ages. So definitely like something if you want to like get your mind off of something or things like that. I think it's a very helpful app for that.
So just wanted to ask you to play with it and see if it helps you or not. So you have a toolbox that's supposed to calm you down, resources section again, when you can listen to some very short podcasts. And my favorite part is this one. I'll just show you quickly what it is. Basically,
better and show you the best ways to take care of yourself. I am not collecting your personal information. It also means that no one else is listening to our conversations. If you're in a crisis or any other person may be in danger, do not use this app, but click the help button to access other resources that may help you.
Okay, and basically what it does, you go through the journey, which is, let's say, 8 to 10 minutes long. So you can share with Alex your thoughts, for instance, oh my goodness, I'm going to fail an exam or something bad is going to happen. And then he first of all tries to normalize it for you, calm your body down. We didn't have much time for that today, but if you want to have another meeting sometime, let me know, let Sanya know, and we can arrange something. And then he's trying to challenge your negative thoughts. That's number one. And again, Zion was talking about it. If the negative thought comes to you and you allow it to take control over your life, it is going to become a spiral kind of, you're going to end up in the vortex of this negativity. I knew it, it's unfair, and now I will fail, people hate me, I have no connections, and so on. And it goes like, it becomes a vicious cycle, really. So the moment the negative thought comes to you, you need to catch it and challenge it. So again, Alex will help you with that. If you would like to have another meeting, I'm open to that. Maybe, please let Sanya know. Is that okay with you, Sanya?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So we can arrange something like that. In the meantime, please try to use these strategies and see how it works for you. Again, I'm very proud